Hello, welcome to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm James Pendleton. I'm here to talk about Everton's crucial win against Bournemouth on Saturday. We're on Tuesday now, so we're a couple of days removed from what was a real tough afternoon. It feels like a lifetime ago that I was sort of sat in Goodison Park in the Upper Gladys, kind of wanting to be anywhere else, to be honest with you, than there. But we stuck through it. And we got the job done in the end, which is hugely important for us, and I think it's a real positive outcome or result of what was a really negative season pretty much for Everton. Really tough at times. I think back to the games against Brighton and Newcastle at home, even games like Fulham and Villa, where you're just thinking they weren't the worst result in the world and they had their own extenuating circumstances, but they're just kind of these are the kind of results that are going to see you get relegated pretty much. But we forget about all that now. Forget about all the stuff that happened pretty much on the pitch this season. Now just focus what happens off the pitch and trying to get that sorted. But I'm here to give my player ratings anyway. I think thinking about this on Saturday night, I was kind of giving everyone 9s and 10s, which I think is quite fair, to be honest, because I think I'm seeing people really lambast a couple of players. I'm kind of just thinking, look, if you're gonna, because people saying, look, I'm going to look at this from a game perspective, and this happened in the middle of the season, whatever. But you just can't do that. The context is vital as far as I'm concerned. It was vital for fans. It was vital for the team, vital for the manager. Okay, yeah, it's easy to say it's just another game, but if you lose just another game, then it's fine. It's not the end of the world. If we'd lost today, it would have been the end of the world in terms of an Everton perspective at the very least. So it's really important to remember that. So it's certainly not 9s and 10s all round, but very favourable, because I think some players handled the occasion super well. Some players played in bizarre positions but did their best, and it really showed. And I think players showed fight and heart, and it felt different to last season, because last season I think we were let down by a manager nobody wanted. A match made in hell. Absolute disaster waiting to happen. We then had to get Frank Lampard, because if we had Vitor Pereira, we would have gone down. If we had Duncan Ferguson, we would have gone down. Lampard, I'll always say to his credit, kept Everton up. Maybe he should have done it a bit sooner than he did. But to be fair, didn't even go down to the last game. We got less points this season. But then obviously Frank Lampard showed that he wasn't a very good manager at all. So it felt very different this season, and I think Kevin Felwell has kind of got like a policy of the players he does bring into the club, and this feels like there's more players out there who seem to care about Everton that you seem to care for yourself. So I think that's a slight difference, but yeah, at the end of the day, the players fought really hard on Saturday, and for Sean Dyche to make subs, especially to bring on someone like Ellis Sims, it means that Marty Gray worked his absolute socks off, and he couldn't really have made any other subs, to be fair. So really pleased for the team, and yeah, we'll get into that then. So obviously Jordan Pickford starting off, I think he was just fantastic. Certainly one good save from Matthias Viña. I was sort of right behind that to the left, Upper Gladys, and as soon as it left his foot, I'm thinking, oh my god, that's going in. And then he gets a real strong hand to it, gets it away. Superb. I don't know whether he made a save from the one just before that where him and Cody were on the goal line. I mean, I think he did. I thought at the time he did. He then gets tripped over by Solanke, which was bizarre. He obviously dislocated his finger. He got it popped back in. No appearance for Begovic then, obviously, against his former team. But yeah, so pleased for Jordan Pickford, because I think him, Dwight McNeil and Abdoulaye Doucoure, they're the three who've really stood up the last 4 months, or 3 months should I say, probably. Or 3.5 months, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But they're the three who I look at and say, yeah, they're the ones who really deserve this in terms of fighting for the badge. And Jordan Pickford just excellent, so he's got to get a 10. Another 10 would be James Garner, because I just think he brought so much composure to the right. That Ouattara is a very dangerous player. He had to move over to the right hand side by the end, because he was getting nothing out of James Garner. Never played wing back, never played right back before. Could have scored a goal, was unlucky there. Bournemouth had absolutely nothing down his side. Anything that came through, it came down McNeil's side, to be fair, which again wasn't loads, but yeah, I thought James Garner was fantastic. And again, you got to put the context there. Young lad, barely played this season, playing in not only a position which he's never played in before, but playing in an even stranger role where it's like wing back, and it's just strange. So super pleased for him, and I hope next season we look at sort of 30-35 games for him, because I just think he's shown, even under Lampard, he showed glimpses where I thought, he barely played, but he showed glimpses, and I'm thinking, yeah, hopefully now this is where he kicks on, so we shall see. But yeah, next to him, Conor Cody and Yerry Mina, both 10s again for me. There was a moment when it was 1-0 and Solanke seemingly went through on goal, and Cody makes an unbelievable tackle. He was offside in the end, but there's just stuff like that all game from him. Big headers. Obviously got involved with Pickford with that one on the line, which I think he might have got a touch on. I'm not really too sure. I've watched it a couple of times. I can't really work it out, but really good. And I thought again he brought composure, leadership, everything. And I thought everything he brought, Yerry Mina brought, and maybe even a little bit more. That tackle in the first half from Solanke was just vital. And then he just helped shut the game out. Could have scored as well when he goes up for the header, goalie punch in, and obviously Garner nearly scores, but yeah, again, you're talking about players who stepped up. If Yerry Mina had played more than 5 games this year, Everton would have been safe with 3 or 4 games to go. I really do believe that, because he's just so good. And if he doesn't have the injury issues, Everton would be giving him a contract right now. I'm sure they would be. I really hope he gets a good move as well, because he just seems like such a nice guy. And yeah, he said back after, was it Brighton, when the players were confronted on Goodison Road, that he would stand up and he'd fight for Everton, and he has. So fair play to him. James Tarkowski gave him an 8. He made a bad mistake in the first half, which could have been catastrophic. Lost a couple of headers to keep him more, which is fair enough. Obviously, he's unbelievable in the air, but yeah, it wasn't his best game today, on Saturday, should I say. But he did well by and large, and an 8 still, obviously, that's man of the match most of our games this season. So yeah, I thought he handled the pressure well. It's just a couple of things, as I say, that a couple of errors, and that could have potentially cost us, but we move on. Dwight McNeil, give him an 8 as well, but he played in such a strange position. I just felt they got down the right a little bit more than they did down the left. Didn't have much going forward in terms of, some of his crossing was really poor, but again, he worked really hard. He set Doucoure through for what should have been probably our second goal towards the end. Just kept working, kept plugging away, playing in a strange position, as I say. And again, we're same with Pickford and Doucoure. They've been huge in keeping Everton up this season. I really do believe that. So yeah, Dwight McNeil, what a player, and I'm just so pleased with him. Just getting back on that left wing and get someone for him to cross the ball into, and I think we're going to have a special player next season, or at least a really good player. So we will see. Garner, I thought he was fantastic on Saturday. Again, another 10 for me, because Gay has not played like a fella who's played in the Champions League final much this season. I remember West Ham at home, he was very good. Games like that where he was excellent. And look, his tackling, his interceptions, they're always good. It's just sometimes he's losing the ball dribbling, he's losing the ball poor passing, gives away silly fouls, those sorts of things. And I just think for a lot of this season, I think he's been relatively poor. But he's really stepped up in some games, and he really stepped up on Saturday. I thought he was immense to Gay, and it was like rolling back the ears. So really pleased for him. So again, seemed to mean a lot to him, which is obviously nice. Abdoulaye Doucoure, I mean, you can't not give him a 10. I think Peter Drury or Rob Hawthorne or Gary Neville or someone on commentary said he was the best player on the pitch when he scored. I don't know, I mean, I'm not trying to go along with that in terms of by that stage, but he was definitely up there. He was very, very good on Saturday, and he scores an unbelievable goal. That's the sort of thing he puts into Rose Head 10 times out of 10. So for him to control that volley is just immense. And again, I'm up at Gladys, so I'm right down the other end of it, and I'm seeing the ball come down, and he hits it, and I'm thinking, because I can't see that far down the stadium. I hate when it's down the park end, as I'm sure the park end do when it's down the other end, but he hits it, and I'm just thinking, okay, I can't see the ball anywhere, so I'm thinking it probably hasn't gone over, just whether it goes in or goes wide of the post. You see the goalie not move as well, that's always a big one for me, and I'm like, this could be in here. I mean, he's just waiting for everyone else to jump up and cheer. So yeah, I had no idea who scored, by the way. I didn't know who it was, because it was just bedlam. Obviously I thought it was either him or Onana based on where it was on the pitch. I actually thought Doucoure had won the header as well, because again, it's just so far down the other end of the field, I can't really see. So yeah, chaos. I had no idea who scored, but yeah, what a goal. And it's one of them, because I remember when, like, growing up, I always kind of said to my dad, like, you must have, like, Graham Stewart and Gareth Farrell in such high esteem because of the goals they scored to keep us up. But with Carvalho and Doucoure, it doesn't really work like that, because they've been part of the teams that have kind of put us there. But if this certainly signifies a new dawn, those two will have to go down as heroes. And if we can actually get away from this mess, going to the new stadium and actually try and achieve something as a club for the first time in God knows how long, then maybe they will get that a little bit, and it won't go to waste, a bit like what the other goals did that kept us going. So made up for Doucoure, because I think he really stepped up when he came back into the team, and I said fair play to him. He then did that stupid thing against Spurs. He was a big reason why we didn't get any points those next few games. When he come back, 2 goals at Brighton, a goal there. He's just been immense. 5 goals, 2 assists in 15 games. I think had to give him that new 1-year extension. I'll probably be doing it today. If he did it today, then it would get like 50,000 likes on Twitter, I'm sure. But yeah, made up for him. I thought he was fantastic. Amadou Onana, I'd probably give him an 8 as well. I thought he had really good spells in the game, and I do think, to be fair, his position, the role he had, meant he wasn't kind of as involved as I think some of the fans would have liked him to be, which is fair enough. But I think I kind of looked at his perspective and thinking he's probably being told not to press that man. It seemed to be at the right side of centre back for Bournemouth was a bit more of the trigger point for it, and he obviously played on the right anyway, so it was on the other side to him. But yeah, I thought last 15 minutes, I thought he was immense. Really worked hard for the team, and you see him at the end of the game, he seemed really pleased. Obviously, he came out with that last dance stuff. I didn't read that as it being his last dance. I kind of read that as just like it's the last chance to kind of save something. Obviously, Yeremy used the phrase as well, which maybe doesn't help that theory, but obviously we'll see. I don't think anyone's bothered by it if anyone wants to leave, really, other than the goalie, so we'll see. But yeah, I thought he did overall well on Saturday. Alex Iwobi, I'd probably give him a 9. I thought he did well. Worked hard for the team, got us up the pitch. He's been a constant kind of 6 or 7 out of 10 for the last 12 months, which is 12, 13, 14 months, which is obviously really good for us. And yeah, we'll see what happens with him. But obviously talking in the week about how his Garner's an Everton fan, and that was quite funny. Hope his Garner's had a good bank holiday weekend. But yeah, pleased with Alex Iwobi. I thought he did well on Saturday. And then Demarai Gray, I'd probably give him an 8, but a bit like the wing backs, who's in an unnatural position. Worked hard, should have had a penalty. It looked a penalty at the time. I can't believe it wasn't given. Conor Cody could have been given a penalty as well, by the way. He should have done better with his header. He had a couple of chances where he got into the box and he messed it up, but he worked hard, and fair play to Demarai Gray, because I think a lot of people said he was going to be the man to save us around Christmas time, January time. It didn't happen that way because he's barely played, but I think when he has played, he's always put in a shift. He's not my favourite player in the world, but I felt he did well on Saturday. So yeah, and then Ellis Sims came on. Did he touch the ball? I'm not sure he did, but he worked hard. So yeah, what a relief then anyway. What a relief. And obviously we got like 73 days, I think it is now, till the season comes back. The fixtures come out in a couple of weeks as well, so it's all going to kind of ramp up very quickly. But we need people gone from the boardroom, we need transfers coming in, we need arrangements put in place, we need statements, we need everything to kind of settle stuff down. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, really pleased with Saturday, of course. And yeah, we live to fight another day, shall we say. So yeah, thank you all very much for listening. And one thing I would say as well, just finally, is that I think people told me how obviously Everton shouldn't be celebrating this and all that. People are on the pitch, yeah, they shouldn't have done that because they got told not to do it before the game. I mean, Christ knows where they got this security from, because they didn't often. I'm looking again, say upper tier, so I wasn't kind of pitch level, but I'm seeing people stood next to the security on the pitch. I'm just thinking, what have you been employed to do? It's a joke. Obviously, I think they were just keen no one went down the tunnel or anything like that. But yeah, one fella got nicked as well for swinging on the crossbar. About 8 policemen and women jumped on him, and then he ended up tying his legs together. It was a mess, really, to be honest with you. But I think one reason why the relief is so palpable though is because you actually feel like we could kick on now, because we've got a good manager. 3 or 4 players going to go in the summer who are taking up wages. We're another year getting further away from that summer where we spent loads of money. there's loads of things to be looking forward to if the building blocks are put in place, and obviously close to the stadium, Goodison will remain a Premier League ground, all this. There's loads of things to have been thankful for, but yeah, I just think it's that feeling that we could finally kick on now, but we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, thank you all very much for listening, and yeah, up the toffees, nice one.